Welcome back, Wisdom Walkers. Have you ever found yourself in a quandary of trying to determine to do the right thing at the right time or listening to that small inner voice? Because remember, that's supposed to guide us in the right way as well. I said supposed to. That does guide us in the way that things that we should do. So in my prior video, if you haven't watched it, it's called Best Interview Line Ever. This continues my employment during the time that I was a car salesman at a major Ford dealership. So remember, I had already told that owner that I would be the best-selling uh, salesman that one of the best-selling salesmen that he would have on his lot. And one of the duties that we had as car salesmen were, of course, to maintain the vehicles. Sometimes we had to repark them. In the wintertime, we had to, clean off the windshields, turn them on, warm them up, do that kind of stuff. So on this particular day, it was a summer day, so it wasn't, wintertime in Michigan. It was pretty hot out, actually. It was either late July or early August. So that's when the days get their hottest. And it was my turn to go out and repark some of the cars and also do an inventory to see which vehicles we still had on the lot, make sure that, the tires didn't look as if they were low, all the things that you would do to maintain a successful car lot. Well, the routine was if you're looking at a particular vehicle, you would do what we call a walk around. So you would start at the hood of the vehicle and then, of course, walk around to the driver's side, all the way to the rear, look at everything, and then go over to the passenger side and come back to the hood of the car. And then you would, after you've done the outside perimeter of the car, then we would take a look at the interior and, make sure no one left anything in the vehicles or anything like that. Well, on this particular hot, hot day, I was just starting to do the outside perimeter look for this particular vehicle. So I started at the hood and was on one side of the vehicle, which was I did mine on the passenger side first. I was doing the passenger side, came back to the rear where the trunk is at. And then just as I was about to do the driver's side of the vehicle, something said, "Get in the vehicle now." So I was like, "No, I'm not done with my outside perimeter. What do you mean, get in the vehicle?" And then, I was like, "Huh, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm supposed to be one of the best salespeople out here, so I'm going to, do the protocol and the routine the way it should be done." And then I heard it again, "Get in the vehicle now." And this time it was much firmer, and I want to say louder, if we can say that, if it has a decibel level for your inner voice, but it was much more firm and more concrete. And so I usually, when I hear my intuition or hear an inner voice or hear something saying, "Do this now," I just go ahead and do it because I'm like, what do you have to lose? But at this point, I'm like, I'm on a job. Why would I be getting in the vehicle if I haven't finished the outside? But I don't like to argue a lot with it. And so I just opened up the car door and sat inside. And I went to reach to close the driver's door. And just as it closed, I mean, just as it closed, all I heard was this big boom. It was so loud that I leaned down, covered my ears, and closed my eyes because I was like, what the hell just happened? Well, when I opened my eyes, the car that was parked next to the one that I was um, doing the perimeter around, all of the windows in it exploded. The rear window, the passenger window, the driver one, the windshield, they all just imploded or exploded because imploded would be one on the inside of the car. This came all on the outside. And there was shards of glass everywhere. And in the car that I was in, you could hear it hitting the roof and hitting the windows and all of that. So, needless to say, had I been standing outside, those shards of glass would have been on me, different parts of me. And the explosion was so loud that the other salesman came running out of the building and they were like, What happened? What happened? And they saw me like sitting in the car next to it. And I, got out and there's, like I said, glass all around. We were trying to figure out what the heck occurred. Turns out, and this car that blew up, or the windows that blew out, was not one of ours. So a customer had come in and he was looking at vehicles. Okay. So, of course, he wasn't in his vehicle. He was looking at, on the lot, walking around trying to see which vehicle he would like to test drive. That customer had unwittingly, so it wasn't something that was done purposely, but he had a can of Freon in the back seat, in the back window of his vehicle. And I guess you scientists out there would know that Freon the sun coming in on a 105-degree day at the back seat, back window glass of a vehicle is not a good combination. So it had sat there for a while. That sun heated it up, and the next thing you know, that was the result. So we were all very surprised at that. And as we were walking back into the building, one of the salesmen came to me and he said, I saw that you had just started the perimeter of that car, and you shouldn't have been on the inside. What made you get on the inside? And I told him, I said, something told me to open the door and get in. He said, you're kidding. And I said, no. And I said, I didn't do it at first because I'm thinking, no, I haven't finished my outside perimeter. I said, but then it came stronger and even louder. And so I was like, I'll just get in. And he said, man, you're so lucky you did. He said, I never heard of anything like that. So I was very shocked, very relieved. And come on, it wasn't me that told me to get in the car. Okay, I was fighting against the inner voice. But that was an experience that I'll never forget. And of course, we all learned lessons, including the customer who left the Freon in his car because he had no idea that would do that either. And the way that I look at things is it could have been, of course, much worse, not just for me. I'm not worried about me, but luckily he wasn't like driving down the road and that happened or had kids in the back seat or anything like that. It just happened to be a random event that didn't have any real victims attached to it. So that wound up really good, or really well, I should say. So that's the tale of that one, following your inner voice, being obedient to it, and probably following it immediately in some cases. So, if any of you have ever had any type of experience where you either followed that small, still voice or you fought against it and what the results or outcome were, leave those comments here. This is Life Lessons Learned, and wisdom shared by all is appreciated by all. And you guys know my mantra: knowledge is in the knowing, but wisdom is in the doing. And the learning of a lesson is the application of it. This is Sherry Brantley. Please comment, like, and if you're so inclined, please subscribe. I'd love to see you come back to this channel. Talk to you later. Bye.